I'm Daphne Richards, and this is Augie, CTG's Doggy Horticulturist. Our question this week comes from Emily. How close to her oak trees can she add rock hardscaping to reduce lawn space and water? Well, Emily, I'm sure that you're not alone in wanting to reduce some lawn area so that you can reduce irrigation and mowing. But when removing turf and replacing with hardscaping around trees, you should be very careful. First, you want to leave some space around the trunk. About 2 feet on each side should be sufficient. And use bark mulch in that area if possible. You want to limit soil compaction over the larger roots of an older tree. When removing the turf, also be very careful not to damage any of the tree roots, which are hopefully deeper in the soil. Using rocks as mulch around the tree is fine, since there's space between the rocks for water and air to penetrate the soil. But be careful of using pavers or other hardscaping around a tree. You can use pebbles or sand between the pavers instead of mortar, which would allow for some water and air to work their way into the soil, but not as much as rocks or other mulch would allow. So the soil underneath pavers will become more compacted, and when the roots grow, the pavers will buckle and be unattractive and are also a potential tripping hazard. The smaller roots, which have root hairs, occur out at the drip line of the tree, at and beyond the furthest branches. And that's where the tree takes up water, so you want to be sure that any construction that you do leaves this area permeable for air and water to get down to the root zone. Our pick of the week is Jimson weed, Datura wrightii, also known as moonflower or angel trumpet. This lovely plant has large, gorgeous, trumpet-shaped white flowers that open at night. The most common way to get this plant is by having a friend share some seed with you. Once the flower has been pollinated, a very large spiky seed head forms containing hundreds of seeds. If you don't collect those seed heads before they burst, you'll find lots of datura seedlings coming up all over the place next year, although the plant really isn't invasive and the seedlings shouldn't escape too far. Datura is listed as hardy to zone 9, and so it may be perennial in your garden, but most likely it will reestablish from seed, so be sure to collect and save some of those seeds so that you can plant them where you want them next year, and give some to jealous friends. Datura only gets about 2 feet tall, but may spread very wide, up to 10 feet, especially if it's getting plenty of water. It doesn't need much water at